Welcome back to another episode of Entitled Parents. Today we have Slaying Sisn't, titled I Don't Care If You're Bleeding Out, My Child Deserves to Go First. You know the drill. EM is the entitled mum, me is yours truly, S is security, M is my mum, D is doctors, B is my brother, and EK is the entitled kid. And here's some warning, there's self-harm in this story. Okay, a bit of background knowledge. I'm 17 and I was diagnosed with depression at 13, which sucks. I guess I never really tried to kill myself, but I did self-harm. I still do sometimes, but don't worry about that. So, I went to school one day like I always did, and I was being made fun of and picked on for being a homosexual and transgender. Basically, this kid was calling me a faggot and then telling me I should just kill myself and the world would be better off without me. Me being the depressed, dysphoric bitch, I took this to heart and decided, yeah, that's a good idea. So I ran home because I don't live too far from my school and forgot my parents were home that day. I ran past them bawling my eyes out and choking back small noises. I ran into the bathroom and well, I won't go into much details. Basically, I tried to commit suicide with pills and slit wrists. My parents opened the door that I forgot to lock and loaded me into the car and drove me to the ER. Now, they're carrying me in and the doctors started to rush me in when some kid and his mom stops us. EM, excuse me? What do you think you're doing? I couldn't see much of what was going on because my head was really hurting and I was shutting my eyes, but I'm pretty sure the woman was blocking us. D, ma'am, this patient is dying. Please move so we can get him the proper care he needs. EM, me and my son were here first. Can't you see that his leg is broken? D, ma'am, a doctor will be with you shortly, but I need you to move, please. EM, why should this brat get to go in before us? This is racism. Now, I was basically passed out completely by now. I don't remember a thing after this, but the rest is based on what my brother told me. The woman wasn't exactly dark-skinned. She was a little bit tanned, but would be labeled Caucasian. It wasn't even racism. D, ma'am, please. EM, he's probably fine, just faking. I shiz you not. EM grabs my arm and starts roughly scratching my open cuts and continues until my mom and brother push her off. My mom takes care of my arm, caressing it and whispering that it'll be okay. My brother, though, starts screaming at EM. B, what the hell is wrong with you? My brother just tried to commit suicide and you're just making things worse. EM, you pushed me off of him. That's assault. D, ma'am, if you don't sit down and let us treat this patient, we're gonna have to call security. B, she assaulted my brother. EM, they're refusing to treat my son. At this point, the doctors were pretty ticked off, so they called security. Security came and the EM claimed that my brother and my mother had assaulted her and her son for no reason. Luckily, the hospital had security cameras and the EM was charged with assault. They got me treatment on time, but I was in a coma for a few weeks. Long story short, EM thought that her son deserved treatment before me, even though I was bleeding out, and then tried to accuse my family of assault after she assaulted me. Next story we have is from Rennie S. I'm sorry if I didn't say that correctly. It is titled, Entitled Guy Cusses Me Out While I'm Waiting for an Appointment with My Lawyer and Gets Sweet Karma. Okay, first things first. I'm a 17-year-old German male, 7 months shy of 18, and I make a living as an independent programmer, mostly regarding server security. I write and distribute programs on my own, and sometimes companies hire me to take a look at their firewalls and point out weak points that either I or a third party then fixes. Whenever that happens, I first have a meeting with the CEO, discussing the details of the project and my hourly rate. Then, I make an estimate for material costs and such, and once that's out of the way, I have my lawyer set up a contract. My lawyer is quite expensive as he's a Harvard-educated corporate lawyer, but it's definitely worth it. Because quite frankly, he's a fucking beast. We're on a first name basis and get along pretty well. Here's some context. Me is me, BL is the beast lawyer, and G is the guy. So I'm waiting outside of BL's office with about 20 minutes of spare time. So I grabbed a coffee on the way and started to read the book that I brought along. The guy that's inside BL's office is yelling about his divorce and how he wouldn't lose his house and assets to his bitch of an ex-wife. And to be honest, I can agree with that to some degree. After about 25 minutes of yelling, he comes out of the room. BL practically shoved G out of his office. He saw me sitting there and said, "Hey, sorry for making you wait." G looks at me and says, "You're gonna shove me out of your office for some bratty kid with rich parents that fucked something up?" Remind you, he's a corporate lawyer with a main focus on finance law. I ignore G and say, "Hey BL, no problem." G was a bit shocked about me and BL being on a first name basis. Then he went, "Ah, so you fuck things up on the daily, huh?" At this point, BL steps in and says, "Sir, that bratty kid, as you put it, makes me twice the money you make me. I also won't tolerate this kind of behavior towards my other clients, and I would advise you to get out of the building before I call security." G seemingly angry stares at me and then he leaves. BL apologizes for G's behavior and told me that he has been thinking about dropping him as a client as he's been rude to both him and other clients in the past. This was the nail in the coffin apparently. I later found out that since BL dropped him as a client, he lost his divorce settlement and got off pretty badly. I guess that's karma. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Entitled Parents. If you enjoy the content, be sure to leave a comment down below and subscribe.